Welcome to
Monday with the Mavens.
We are talking all things fat
And muscle. Well,
look out.
you put it over here.
Making sure that okay.
Oh,
give me just a second.
hold on. Hang on, guys. Coming back. Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. Making sure that we don't get interrupted by phone calls. Oh gosh, you guys, we have so much goodness to talk about today. First of all, happy Monday. It's going to be a really good week.
It has already started out.
We're going to make it a really good week.
Yeah.
Haley does this thing where she likes to identify a word every day that she lives into. And early this morning we work out together. And my word today is bubbling. And I want to bubble over. I want to bubble over with joy, bubble over with gratitude, bubble over with fun. And I know that kind of sounds Pollyanna-ish, but I don't know, why not, right? Why not live every day to its fullest? We've been talking about that a ton lately, and we can do that when we feel good, you guys.
Yeah.
And man, why not feel good? Why not do a few things every day to help you live your best life? Why not?
Why not? Why not?
Okay, so we're going to jump into fat versus muscle. And we would love for you guys to join in on the conversation. So if you have any questions, if you have anything that you want to add, that you want to share, please use the comment section, and we will do our best to pay attention to it. I know the large majority of people watch these after the fact, so feel free to use the comments, DM us, any of the things. But we're going to dive in because you guys, look at the difference, okay? So we have Facebook over here, Instagram over here. So this is 5 pounds of fat. This is 5 pounds of muscle. They weigh, obviously 5 and 5 are the same, right? But the volume they take up is significantly different. And there are so many things that when you have excessive body fat, we're not talking about fat shaming. Every body is different. Every body is different. And there's no one size fits all by any means. But excessive body fat is dangerous. It leads you to so many complications, so many disease states, so many things.
Real quick, before we dive in any deeper, let's talk about why is muscle so much more compact compared to fat? And it's really because of what it's made of, you guys. So muscle is made up of all of these woven long fibers that are really tightly woven together. There's hardly any space in between. Sorry.
Something coming.
There's hardly any space in between the fibers. In fact, there is no space. It's very tight. Fat, on the other hand, is made up of a bunch of different sized droplets that then attach to each other and oftentimes leave a lot of space in between. If you think about a bubble and another bubble, and they're not fully sticky, but they're sticking together, there's all this space around the tops and the bottoms of the circles. And that's why fat takes up so much more space. This same amount of weight as this takes up so much more space than the muscle, because this is so tightly woven together, and this is
dense,
loosey-goosey, and it's kind of all over the place and blobby. And nobody wants blobby.
And what we're going to get into is why preserving and or building muscle is so important, and why minimizing or shedding fat can be equally, if not more important. My son, who's a fact checker, wants me to point out that when we got these, we weighed them on a scale, and this is actually 4.55 pounds, and this is exactly 5 pounds. So
it's even a bigger discrepancy than what we're showing you guys.
It is. And you guys, take a minute. If you've been able to shed 5 pounds of fat and preserve muscle, and we have a lot of clients that are able to monitor their muscle preservation, this is a significant amount. When I think about 5
bigger
pounds,
than my head, you guys, look at this.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Which
it's
makes
pretty
sense.
remarkable.
The human head weighs 9 pounds, right? Wasn't that
I
Jerry
don't actually
Maguire?
know. Alexa, how heavy is an average human head?
According to the Jefferson Lab, the average human head weighs between 10 and 12 pounds.
Between
10 and 12 pounds. This is half of my head.
Yeah.
In weight.
But her head is way more dense than fat.
I am super
Haley
dense, you guys.
No, she's real smart. But like Haley said, fat doesn't have a lot of density to it, but it has a ton of volume to it, and it's not smooth. And so today we're going to focus.
And lumpy.
It is. And yes, do the large majority of our clients, are they seeking a particular aesthetic? Have we seeked a particular aesthetic? Yes, but it's so much more about the health, you guys. Today, our focus when we're talking about fat and muscle, it's about our health. It's about our cognition. It's about our energy. It's about moving away from a state of disease and not moving towards it. because like fat is so dangerous when you are looking at fat accumulation, when both subcutaneous and visceral fat. So visceral fat is the fat around your organs, subcutaneous fat is the fat under your skin. When you are looking at body fat in general, the more body fat you have, the more likely that you are going to continue to move, unless you do something to counteract that, towards a state of disease, whether it be diabetes, some form of cancer, heart disease. The list goes on and on, like because of the role of insulin with fat. You guys, it's like, it's what we talk about all the time, right? And so we're going to get into what we can do to from a healthy standpoint, shed fat while also preserving muscle. But let's first talk a little bit about fat and a little bit about muscle.
Yeah, so you guys, let's talk about fat first. Here, hand me this fat baby. Not fat baby, but fat baby.
She was calling me baby.
Yeah, it was like fat, comma, baby. So you guys, one thing about fat, when we have too much body fat, some of the things that happen to our bodies is fat produces hormones. A lot of times fat will overproduce estrogen. So if you are a female and you are carrying a lot of extra body fat, you may tend to be a little bit more estrogen dominant. And we talk a lot about hormones and hormone harmony and a hormone hurricane. And sometimes, you guys, the hormone hurricane comes from having too much body fat. Now, we are not saying, please don't misunderstand us at all, because we work with people every single day who are trying to shed fat, preserve muscle, gain muscle, all of the things, all things nutrition. We're just giving you a really broad strokes. You know if you need to lose fat, and we are not here to say you need to lose fat or you need to gain muscle or any of that. You know that for yourself, and only you can determine that. What we want you to go away from this, I almost call this a podcast, but from this live with, is a little bit of education as to why you might want to lose more body fat. Now, at the same time, especially women, we need to have a certain amount of body fat on us. It's essential for hormone production. If our body fat is too low, oftentimes you will stop menstruating and you will start a hormone hurricane, you guys. So a little bit of body fat is absolutely essential. In fact, I think it's like
10 to 13% is what is essential for a female. 2 to 5% is what is essential for a male. So it is different for men and women, and a lot of that has to do with hormone production. But if you start dipping below the 10 to 13% range on a female, which is actually really difficult to do.
That's low, you guys.
But if you start dipping below that, it starts having a profound effect on your hormones, especially all of your reproductive organs and all of your reproductive hormones, your sex hormones, which are really important. And that's going to include things like your testosterone, your estradiol, your progesterone, and also all of your thyroid hormones. So there is such a thing as too low of body fat to sustain for a long period of time. That's not typically the problem. It's typically excessive body fat. And a healthy body fat looks a little bit different for everybody. We were all built differently.
So for sake of time, let's just talk about those of us, the general population, who have excess body fat to lose. And so anyway, 4.5 pounds of body fat, you guys, as you can see, like I have lost, more than this, more than one time in my life. If you're pregnant, you lose a lot of body fat and a lot of body weight when you have a baby. If you are on a nutrition plan and your goals are to lose weight, like 5 pounds, this is significant. So that said, if you are the kind of person, or if you are the person who is like dying to lose 5 pounds of fat, this is what you're shooting for. Right? This much.
And we have clients that range anywhere from just wanting to feel better and maybe shed, 5 pounds, to clients that are looking to shed hundreds of pounds, to clients that are looking to actually gain weight and build muscle. And so it really differs, and no two plans look the same, because everybody has a different starting point. Everybody has a different, regardless of their age, their weight, their height, all the things. There's the standard BMR calculation out there, which is your base metabolic rate. But there are so many things that influence that. And part of what we do with our clients, part of our whole science, is how we impact and influence your BMR, your base metabolic rate. How can we get you to be burning more calories at rest? And we have a beautiful system to do that. And what we want to do when we're burning more calories at rest is we want your body to also be preserving its muscle. So what you're shedding is fat. And there are some really great ways to do that. But I do want to talk about fat a little bit more. So we talked about this a little bit, but once again, we want to be careful because we are not fat shaming, right? Like everybody is different. Bodies are beautiful. Our bodies were meant to like work hard for us, and depending on your body type, I do think a lot of people put a lot of weight into their genetics.
A lot of weight. Sorry.
I heard this again this last weekend, and it was genetics are not your destiny. And I love that because we have the ability to impact our genetic expression and how we actually, like, we don't just have to accept, well, I come from a long line of diabetes in my family. I come from a long line of, X, Y, and Z in my family. You might have to work harder because you're genetically predisposed to that, but that doesn't mean that you have to live into it.
Break the chain.
You can choose how your genes express themselves, and that's a whole nother topic, but I just want to go into again, like why too much body fat is dangerous. Not the aesthetic component, although you can choose to chase that, but the actual danger, because I think that as a society, we've become so overly sensitive to talking about fat that we are doing ourselves a significant disservice and not talking about it enough. And the rate of disease in both children and adults is growing rapidly. The rate of diabetes is growing rapidly, and people are not living their best lives. They're not living with sharp brains. They're not living with energy. They're living with too much pain, and it doesn't have to be that way. We each have a choice. Like, it's absolutely like our own choice, but we need to be equipped with the information. And so when you have too much body fat, we've talked about this, but it impairs your body's response to insulin, right? And insulin is really important. Our insulin sensitivity and how our body reacts to that is really important. And we talk about that a lot. And
we have a whole live just on insulin and glucose.
Because what happens is it raises your blood sugar and raises your insulin levels. When you have too much body fat, it actually influences how your body's processing what you're bringing in from a nutritional standpoint. And then it can contribute to things like, and we talked about this list, heart attacks, high blood pressure, cancer, diabetes, arthritis, fatty liver, depression,
brain fog.
Yeah, because of what's happening hormonally in the body. It's so interesting when you start to deflame the body and you start to shed fat, even just the cognition changes that happen and what can happen hormonally from a mood support standpoint, from an anxiousness standpoint. I mean, we have testimonial after testimonial from our clients that talk about this, and we love that. And so then I think we get into, and we're going to get into muscle here in a minute too, but like, how do you effectively shed fat while preserving muscle? And we're going to talk about the muscle preservation here in a bit, but you guys, nutrition. Like, it is 80% plus nutrition. You can kill yourself in a gym, and if you are not being strategic in how you are fueling your body, you are not going to make the same progress. Like, we have a lot of clients that change nothing in their movement, but they change their nutrition. We can get them eating more, but we can get them eating in a way that strategically fuels their goals, and they shed body fat. Because if you're just like filling your plate and not understanding or having a rhyme or a reason, or eating super low calories one day and then higher calories the next day, and your metabolism is confused, or maybe you eat too low during the week and you have metabolic adaptation, so then your body's expecting less and then it's storing fat, like all of those things, like there's a rhyme and a reason. It doesn't have to be too complicated, but if you can step back and you can understand, okay, I want to consistently fuel my body. I'm not eating a lot right now, maybe, or maybe I'm not eating a lot on Sundays and I'm eating more on other days. And this is where we often start with our clients. We look at what on average are you currently consuming from a calorie standpoint and from a macro standpoint. What are your goals? Are you on any medication? How much are you moving your body? Like, we figure out kind of where you're at, and you could have two people that look similar weights, similar lifestyles, that are two totally different places, and we're going to start them at two totally different places. Yep. So then we start consistently fueling our clients with similar calories day over day, and we shift their macros and their calories week over week so that we can impact their base metabolic rate, so that we can be getting them We'll come to that here in just a second. So we can be getting them more fuel slowly to get their base metabolic rate to fire more and more. There is something to calories in, calories out, but we have the ability to influence your base metabolic rate. So then what happens is, as we shift your macros and make sure that you're getting adequate protein for muscle preservation, adequate fat for hormone harmony, and adequate carbs for energy, and working with you on what those can look like, we can get your calorie count up while shifting your body composition, and having you have all of the benefits that come from that. And so it really comes back to our 5 pillars. When we're looking at shedding fat, if you can dial in your nutrition, if you can prioritize your sleep, if you can stay hydrated, if you can be stress resilient, and if you can move your body. Like, if we can work with you on those small habit changes over time, all of those things work in harmony to literally shed fat off your body while keeping your muscle intact, and maybe even in time building some more muscle. And it's a beautiful thing.
It is. And we've been programmed, you guys, to think that we need to kill ourselves at the gym. We really have. I think that maybe it started, in the late 80s, early 90s. Like, I remember my mom doing all these exercise classes. Remember the Thigh Master?
Yeah.
Like, I just remember, like, there's been a big push, especially in the late 80s, early 90s, for like cardio style exercise, step classes, things like that. And you guys, the thing is like, when you talk to people that go to the gym, typically those people are really looking for body composition shifts. And what we were never taught in school, and still are not taught in school, that happens in the kitchen. So
Absolutely.
we had somebody ask, what does that you say about a bad fork? You cannot exercise your way out of a bad fork. If you are eating poorly, or let's say you go to the gym, and maybe you go to the gym so that you can eat poorly, right? A lot of people do that. Like, oh, I went to the gym, so now I can eat whatever I want. Well, that is such backwards thinking.
Yeah.
What we need to start doing is we need to start thinking, like, the changes I make in the food that I eat is going to change my body, right? And so when we talk about...
We're not talking about restriction.
No, not at all. And the thing about it, too, is when we were talking about fat, you guys, this is our body's representation of stored energy.
Yeah.
Our body takes excess energy
Yeah.
that we take in as fuel, because food is fuel. Let's stop referring to it as like something that makes me feel good, something that I do on the weekends.
Food should be fuel.
Yeah.
Oftentimes it's poison.
Right, but it should be
Yeah.
fuel, right? And so the extra fuel that we put on our bodies that we don't use gets stored. It gets stored as energy, as fat. It gets stored as energy, as muscle. And depending on the fuel we are putting in our bodies and how we are burning that fuel will depend on whether we store it as fat or as muscle. And we are in control of this, you guys.
Yeah.
Like Emmy said, like, yes, there are some things to genetics. However, if you are willing to put in the work and to learn how your body works, you can change the dynamics of your genetics. You absolutely can.
Let me talk about that a little bit, because we've been talking, like, we don't talk about our own journeys all that much, and we probably should more. And I'm just going to give you guys, I'm going to use myself as an example. So I have worked out really hard my whole life. I'm a gym owner. Like, I've always worked out. I've always been physical. I've always been in the mountain, like all of the things. And I just always felt like, for how hard I was working and how clean I was eating, that I like couldn't arrive, and it was really frustrating. And what that looked to me then was actually probably an unhealthy arrival. And I've come so far in my relationship with food, and even just my comfort in my own skin. But fast forward, and I years ago like started understanding macros. Now, I've been in the health and wellness field for 20 years. I've overseen nutrition programs, like all of the things. I've worked with some of the most incredible medical providers. Like, I've been in it, you guys. And it wasn't until I really understood how to fuel my body with the appropriate macros and how to impact my base metabolic rate, that now, in a matter of a couple of years, I've been able to shed fat, like unwanted fat that just hung on there forever. I've been able to build muscle simultaneously. I'm probably about overall 15 pounds lighter, which is crazy to think of, like at my highest, like crazy to think of 3 of these, because I actually have more muscle than I used to as well. And I never felt like I was healthy, but I wasn't the healthiest version of myself. And I don't have great genetics. I don't. And I always thought like, I'll just never quite get there. Like I never thought I could have a 6-pack. Like not that I have a great 6-pack, but like,
She's got a great 6-pack.
but like, and that's just purely aesthetic, right? Like, but it was something that I really wanted. And now, like when I first started counting macros, for a long time, you guys, and I'm ashamed to say this, but it's true. Like for a long time, I was probably only eating like 1,200 calories a day. And I am a high functioner, and that is not enough. Like that is not enough. I eat closer to 1,700 to 2,000 calories. I've been in loose maintenance for a long time per day now. I can maintain a leaner body mass. I'm stronger than I've ever been. I have more energy than I've ever had. I sleep better than I ever have. I did have a season of not great sleep due to stress, but like I have just tools where I feel good. I'm not tied to the scale in a way that I used to be. And I still allow myself the things that I enjoy with my food, but I eat strategically and it works. And it just comes as second nature, you guys. And so it was a process, right? But I had a coach and I learned so much, even though I was in the field for a long time. And then like we dove in and like we do things differently than how I was coached, just because there's so many other facets to it as far as like our pillars of wellness and really taking those other things into account. But if you want to impact your body fat, it has to start in the kitchen. It has to start in the kitchen. And it's so powerful. And I can say the same for this girl. Like when I talk about genetics, and we talked about this on our Zoom earlier, like I used to chase, like I wanted the long, lean legs. I will never have long, lean legs. This girl has long, lean legs. Like
for my height, maybe. But
yeah, no,
they're not
like,
that long.
But
they're not as long as my daughter's. Oh my word.
Well, nobody has as long legs as Burke's.
she's a dream.
But you guys, like you just find that like you settle into yourself and you work to become the best version of yourself, whatever that looks like. And if you start feeling better in your skin and having more energy and sleeping better and all the things, everything else just comes along. And then you're just kind of like, I feel good. Like that's what matters. It's not about a number. It's not, in fact, I feel my best, not at my lightest. And we talked about that earlier too. Like it becomes about a lifestyle. And when you can be strategic about it and you can preserve that muscle and shed that fat, like it plays into all the other non-aesthetic things.
Yeah. And let's talk about that for a minute, because the whole idea of shedding fat while maintaining muscle or even gaining muscle. Now, it's kind of like, I'll call it like the Goldilocks syndrome, right? Like when everything is just right, you can lose fat and gain muscle. Now that is really difficult, and that's why you oftentimes need a coach to do those things simultaneously. Usually the way it works is you either build muscle and or you lose fat in whatever order it happens for you, like depending on what your goals are. So let's say we have somebody who wants to shed a bunch of fat, right? Well, there is a specific way that we do that. We go through a reverse diet process. We increase your calories in order to increase your base metabolic rate. We go through a very scientific phased temporary calorie deficit. You guys, when we say it's not necessarily calories in, calories out, there's a lot more to it. But the basic, it's what we've all been taught. The very basic understanding is you have to burn more calories than you're taking in to lose weight. Yes, that is absolutely true. We can manipulate that in a lot of different ways with the foods that you're eating. Now, if you don't have a lot of muscle on your body, you're not going to see a lot of muscle even when you are losing fat. Yeah. In order to see muscle, which most people want to see this, right? Most people want to see muscle. You have to have that muscle. And there's only one way to gain muscle, you guys, and it's lifting weights. You have to have some sort of resistance training in your daily life, whether it's every day, 2 days a week, 3 days a week, no matter what, you have to lift heavy things and set them down. That is the only way you are going to actually build muscle that you then will see once you shed fat.
And we have a lot of people who come to us and they're like, I want that toned, lean look. Well, that's great. Like, that's fantastic. But in order to have that toned, lean look, you have to have muscle underneath whatever fat you shed. And so when people come to us and they're rather sedentary, they can have fantastic progress by only changing their nutrition. But they're going to shed fat, but that's not going to just give them muscle.
They're
like
not going to
Haley
have
said,
pop and biceps or six pack necessarily.
if you want to have visible muscle, you have to have some form of resistance training. And let's talk about that, because over time, as we age, our muscle rate does naturally decline. And so regardless of where you're at right now, if you are willing to start some form of resistance training in your life, you will be ahead. Like, muscle leads to longevity, because you need that even as we age. Like, when you look at mortality rates of our older generations and what leads to a lot of those, I'm sure almost all of us have somebody in our life that has broken a hip, or some form of a significant fracture at an older age, and those can be really difficult to recover from and often then lead to a further decline. If we can, whatever age we're at now, start to at least preserve, if not gain some muscle, there are so many benefits to that. Also, muscle will burn more calories at rest. So if you have two people, let's say the same person that is the same weight, same genetic makeup, all of that, but one, let's say they're 130 pounds, but one of them has 100 of those 130 pounds is like muscle and bone, and the other one, only 50 of those pounds is muscle and bone. That's excessive. But the one with more muscle density within that weight is going to burn a significant higher volume of calories at rest, because it's not that the muscle itself is burning the calories, it's what's happening cellularly in your body to burn those calories. So it's another benefit of having that. Muscle, it really does. It leads to longevity. It helps with all of the things. And so it's not only better looking, which is not our first priority, but it serves you so much more in all of the things that we talk about. And so the biggest way for us from a nutritional standpoint to help you preserve muscle while you're shedding fat is to make sure that you're getting adequate protein.
Because this is made of protein, you guys.
It is. And you need those amino acids as your building blocks for both preservation and for building. And so now, building muscle is an entirely different subject. Like, you have to have wood to build a house, right? You have to have fuel to build a body. And so muscle building can happen in maintenance, but it will happen very slowly. Typically, muscle building happens in a bit of a surplus, and that can be uncomfortable for people. But as long as, like, let's say that one of your goals is to shed fat and we want to preserve muscle along the way, we're going to work with you, and it's a little bit different. Everybody has a different protein threshold, but we're going to work with you to get upwards of 0.75 to 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight, but you can't do that overnight.
No.
If you come to us and you're significantly under eating protein, we have to slow roll you to that. Otherwise, you're going to have some digestion issues and it's going to be no fun. And so those are the sorts of things where having a coach really comes in clutch, because they're going to, they know this, right? And they have all of your information, and they're going to walk you through that process. And then pretty soon it becomes secondhand, like it just becomes natural for you.
Yeah.
And
even though we just want to go to the gym, right?
Yeah.
We just want to go to the gym, and we just want to work out, and we just want those things to happen when we do that. That's not life, you guys. I wish it was, because I thought that was life for like so many years.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just going to go to the gym, and all of my physical problems will be solved, and I will feel amazing. And it's just not how it is, you guys.
It's been so fun to watch her, you guys. Like, when she started macros, so you have newbie gains when you first start in the gym, right? Like, those newbie gains are so much fun to watch people, because the longer you go, the harder it is to make those big.
You got to work hard. You got to work hard.
Nutritionally, when she changed things, and same with her, like she'd done it all, like, you know,
oh my
paleo,
gosh,
Whole30, like all of the things. And when she started counting her macros and like getting underway, you guys, her transformation was so fun, especially in the gym, because like, she's little and she's like powerful. She's small and mighty. And this girl's like strong. She is like doing row push-ups with like 35-pound dumbbells, like 35-pound dumbbells. She's tiny. Like,
yeah. And the thing is like, I I just didn't believe it, you guys. I was very critical. I was like, whatever. I have been going to the gym forever. And eating clean. Yeah, I ate clean, you guys. I ate the right things
But
in
you
the
didn't
wrong
eat very
proportions.
much.
Well, I still don't require a ton of food, but I was eating the right things, but I was eating them in the wrong proportions. And honestly, sometimes that's all that has to shift is eating the right foods in the right proportions and in the right way. And then all of a sudden, the excess body fat that I was hanging on to, it just like went away and I got super strong. Yeah. And there's nothing feels better than feeling strong at all.
I shared this in stories last week, but I just, like, at 41, and I've worked out my whole life, and I really have always wanted to have a strong pull-up game, and it just does not come natural to me. I just PR'd my pull-ups. Like, I'm so excited.
Girlfriend can pull up, guys.
Like, and I was in my head about it. It's so stupid, but, like, you guys, like, whatever it is you want to do, like, why not? Like,
yeah. Let's talk about that for half a second. Yeah, because there is an adage out there that I'd like to kick in the can.
Yeah, kick it in the can.
Yeah, and
put it in the
bucket. And it's this, and I fall into this trap, and so many people I know, and my kids, and
we're gonna get an E rating for this.
Yeah, sorry. It's the adage is never try, never fail. Right? And so let's say there's something out there that like you want. Let's say it's pull-ups, right? And you're intimidated to go to the gym and to try pull-ups because you know that since you're a beginner, maybe, or maybe you're not, but you know that they're really hard and you struggle. And so it's going to be a fail. That's what you think is going to happen.
Everybody's looking, but nobody's looking.
But honestly, let's be real. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about me.
About themselves.
The only person that cares about me in the gym is me. Nobody else. And everybody thinks that
I care about you.
No. But you're not watching me. You're watching yourself. I know. I work out with you a lot.
I watch you.
No,
but still.
Well, yeah, she watches me to make sure I'm doing it right, so she can correct me.
Whatever.
But anyway, it's like never try, never fail, right? Yeah. Because we don't want to fail. It hurts our ego. That's number one, right? It hurts our ego. It hurts our pride. But like, honestly, I would way rather go to the gym with you and have you be like, pull-ups are hard, but you know what? Yeah. I have a goal and I'm going to go in and I'm going to work. And then when you get it, when you get the pull-up, I want to celebrate that with you. I want to do that. Yeah. But if you don't try because you're so afraid of failing, then you're never going to get there, you guys, and you're going to defeat yourself every single time you go. But the best feeling is when you get there and when you do the pull-ups and you hit those goals and people around you that love you can cheer for you and cheerlead on you. And you guys, so just throw that adage, never try, never fail, right in that bucket I mentioned.
And I'm just going to piggyback on that because I'll just tell you guys, it's stupid. Like with pull-ups, like Haley said, nobody watches, and forever, I wouldn't do strict pull-ups. I would jump and lower myself down, or I'd put my foot on the wall. Even though I could do some pull-ups, I was just like, I don't want to I don't know. I don't know what it was, but it was really and then I was like, no, regardless of how many I can do, I'm going to force myself to do strict pull-ups. And I don't care if I can't get as many as I don't want. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it day over day, and I'm going to improve on it. And I have a pull-up bar in my house, and I was just like, and in the gym, and I'm like, I'm going to make this happen. And for years, I cheated myself, which is stupid. I've shared I previously had a bilateral mastectomy, and I got in my head after that I don't know, I wouldn't allow myself to do a full pull-up. And so finally, you guys, it's only been about a month since I made the decision. I'm going to force myself to do strict pull-ups. And I will say, I don't know if I should share numbers, but I went from only doing 3 strict pull-ups to 12. And that is in a month. So just think what you can do in a month. Now, I have way bigger goals than that, but
but that's part of it.
And you guys, that's after a lifetime of working out. Because I didn't force myself to do it right. And I'm going to do things right, by golly.
And so because of that, she's got more of this.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
And she totally is. When you guys see her do pull-ups, her back muscles are popping.
Oh, I love that I have a hype girl.
Popping. So anyway, let's get back to fat versus muscle. Yeah. If you want to see muscle, you have to have muscle. So Yes, we talk about nutrition being king. Actually, we call it queen because
Yeah.
nutrition is queen.
Yep.
But in order to see this, you got to have it, which means you also need to get yourself in the gym and you need to lift weights. Now, let's talk about cardio just for a minute because a lot of people,
Yeah.
most women, I'd say, are killing themselves on the treadmill, on the rowing machine. And if you love cardio, you guys, because it makes you feel good and it is really good for your mental health, we are not saying don't do cardio. That's not what we're saying at all.
If it brings you joy, great. But
Do
it's
it,
not
yeah.
going to give you... It's not going to give you the aesthetic changes that resistance training is going to.
It's going to burn calories.
Yeah.
It'll burn
It's going to
immediate
burn
calories.
more calories in the moment, whereas
Yeah.
resistance training is going to burn more calories throughout
Long
your
term.
day.
Yep.
And in building muscle, you're also then going to burn more calories at rest the more muscle mass you have.
Yeah.
And so once again, cardio can be great for your heart. It can be great for your mental health. I love to walk. I want to like to run, but
I don't even want to like to run.
I love to hike, and so like I do forms of cardio that I really enjoy, especially in nature. But if I want to get the best bang for my buck, if I don't want to just go and throw something at the wall and hope that it sticks, I need to be strategic. I want to be efficient with my time. I want to make sure I'm working each muscle group at least twice a week, and I want to get my resistance training in because it is going to be what's going to make the biggest change in my body in the most efficient period of time. Now, women oftentimes also think, and I used to be one of these because I do have like a shorter, squattier body type. And I just used to think like, no, the heavier I lift, the bulkier I'll be. It is really hard for women, unless you're one of those very unique people that convert dihydrotestosterone faster. Like I have a couple friends that just no matter what they do, they have that lean, beautiful body mass. They can eat whatever they want. And it just sticks. Like that's very rare. Now those people can put more muscle on quicker because of how those women convert their testosterone. But I think
they're the lucky ones.
They are.
Lucky ones, honestly.
And they're very rare. But
Yeah.
the large majority of us, you would have to be in a surplus of calories, and you'd have to be lifting very heavy, progressive overloads. Like you'd have to do a lot to be able to bulk. Like most resistance training is going to result in a healthy muscle mass and the shedding of fat. But it depends on what you like, and it depends on what you don't. We're talking about muscle from a health standpoint, not necessarily from an aesthetic standpoint. Everybody has a different desire from an aesthetic standpoint.
Yeah.
So
let's talk real quick, because we're running out of time, about the scale, okay? Because I think that the scale is
it's a thief of joy.
It can be. It absolutely can be. And one thing that I don't feel like a lot of people consider when they step on the scale is, okay, so this is what I think happens. You know those little things on Instagram just popped in my mind. It's just like, this is what I do. This is what people think I do. This is what my mom thinks I do. And it's all these different pictures. I think,
I'm like, where is she going?
Sorry. Anyway, it doesn't totally work. But anyway, I think that when people step on the scale, they see that number and they're like, that's how much fat I have.
Yeah.
I have 150 pounds of fat. And when you break it down, your bones weigh quite a bit. Your muscle weighs quite a bit. Your organs, you guys, we are packed full of organs and blood and all kinds of things that take up space in our bodies and that have weight. If we didn't have those things, then the number on the scale would reflect how much fat you have. We have such a brain, like our brain scale
One of us
connection.
should share our Fit Track data
that's a good
because
idea.
it breaks down like for our weight exactly what our percentages of
Yeah.
bone versus muscle versus fat, and then within fat how much visceral
Visceral,
fat
yeah.
versus subcutaneous fat, all of that. It's super interesting.
It is super interesting. And so if you have a way that you can measure that, now I don't know that the Fit Track scale is like super accurate, but it is apples to apples. So if you're standing on it every single day, then it's going to give you at least a reliable measurement as far as like change of body comp goes.
Yeah.
Now, please, you guys, and I beg my clients constantly, the number on the scale has zero to do with your value. Zero.
Does not define you.
It does not define you. It has nothing to do with like your value as a human being.
Yeah.
And what is so sad to me, and it like really like troubles me, is how many people become a slave to the number on the scale and they attach their worth to the number on the scale. All that number is, it is how much gravitational force our body is pulling onto the earth, you guys.
Yeah.
How silly is that?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with your value. Please.
And we're talking about fat today from a health standpoint.
Yeah.
We're not talking about it from an overall weight standpoint.
No.
Everybody's weight, like everybody is built differently. And you can take two people, I can take myself, and this is where muscle comes into play with this too. I can be the exact same weight with two entirely different body compositions. And weight is just one data point. Do we use it with our clients to help track their overall trajectory?
Yeah.
Yes. But just as important, if not more important, are so many other factors. And so it is a good data point, but it is not the end all be all. And you have to take into consideration, especially if you haven't been and you start some form of resistance training, if you're building muscle while simultaneously losing fat, the number on the scale is probably not going to shift that much, but your body composition is going to shift in incredible ways.
So a better data point for you, if that is what you are trying to do, is change your body's composition, is measure your body with a flexible tape measure. Measure your waist, measure your chest, measure your arms, measure whatever it is, your neck, whatever you are trying to shift, measure it, you guys. If you measure it every week, every 2 weeks.
I like how you say measure.
Measure yourself. Anyway, if you measure your body, then you will have a great data point that you can then reflect on from like when you started weight training to maybe partway through to however long you're going to do this for, whatever. That is a huge one. Also, take your pictures. Yes, it is so uncomfortable. Nobody wants to take their pictures in their underwear. But it is powerful. I'll give you an example. I have a client who has been so frustrated in the last probably 6 weeks. Her weight has like balanced out pretty much. And she's just frustrated. She's like, I'm just not losing weight. And I was like, well, let me go in and take a look at different things. And we've been talking through a bunch of different stuff and shifting her macros, and her weight is just balanced. It's just like steady Eddie. And I went in and looked at her photos from when she started to now, and even within like just the last 6 weeks, and she's been feeling really frustrated. And I sent her a side by side, and I was like, your weight hasn't shifted very much in the last 6 weeks, but look at what your body has done. And her body has completely changed. And so we were able to take that data, the photos, her measurements, and even her weight, and be like, okay, yes, you are not losing weight.
Pounds.
You are not losing fat. Instead, what you are doing
she might be losing fat.
She may be losing fat, but she's putting on muscle. You guys, her body has completely shifted. And she was like, oh my gosh. She's like, and all of a sudden, she was like, the number on the scale isn't reflecting what is happening inside her body necessarily, because this and this
are two totally
different. They
things.
take up the different amount of space, even though they weigh the same. So don't get hung up on the scale. If you are doing the work, if you are consistently eating a healthy balance of protein, carbs, and fat, if you have a coach who is guiding you through this, if you are resistance training,
if you're drinking your water, if you're prioritizing sleep, if you're stress resilient, like you guys, and those things don't all happen overnight. Like it takes time and it takes habit forming, and that's what we're here for. And so
trust the process.
Trust the process. If you guys have questions, if you want to see if we're a good fit for you, if you want to learn more about our program, you can go to macromavens.life. You can click the hop on board button. It does not commit you to anything, but it lets a coach reach out, see if we're a good fit, answer any questions. If we're not, then we might point you in the right direction. Like, we really want to work with people that we would fit really well with, and we have an amazing community. And
if you want more of this
and less of that, and if you want to learn like just healthy habits over time, like one of the things that we really enjoy doing is education and like really looking at how to optimize in all areas. And yes, first and foremost, we are nutrition coaches, but it goes so much further than that. And so we're here for it. We're super excited.
If you want a cheerleader, you guys,
you want a coach
can you
in your
feel?
corner?
Can you feel our passion? If you want this in your life, maybe you don't.
You want us in your life.
Maybe you don't. And I understand that. There are some people who are probably like, yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's okay. But you guys, we are really passionate about what we do. We are really passionate about the health of our community and
We've
people
got to help,
in general.
We've got to help over 1,000 clients now.
I know.
Like it's thousands. Like it's so gratifying to see the shifts happen. And yes, of course there's aesthetic changes, but you guys, our clients are like feeling better. Our motto is feel good, look good, do good. Because if you can feel good, if you can have better energy, if you can have better sleep, if you can have more balanced hormones, you're going to look better because you're going to be more confident. You're going to feel better in your own skin. And then you're going to want to go out and you're going to want to do more for the people in your life, for the people around you, for yourself. And it's like this beautiful cascade. And we are here for it. So
Amen.
macromavens.life, click the hop on board button. Also, March is our second anniversary month of Macro Mavens. And we have so much goodness coming your way.
So much goodness. You guys, you want to stay tuned, stay connected to the socials like you are right here, Facebook, Instagram, because we have some big announcements coming. It's
so good.
2023, you guys, it maybe had a rough start for some of us.
Yeah. but it's really
but it is
around.
like we have kicked it in the can and we are turning the ship toward goodness. So stay tuned because 2023, year 2 of Macro Mavens is coming at you with so much goodness.
Year 3 of Macro Mavens, 2 behind us.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have a fantastic week.
Yeah.
Be in touch.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.